5, 4. We are recording. Hello, welcome, everyone, to the next issue, the next episode, if you will, of Inside the Business Mind. Today, I've got an exciting professional that I want to share with you. Oh my God, she's a supercharger. She's extraordinary. She's been in the financial business for more years than I'm going to share because I'm not trying to out my girl. But I will tell you, she's an seasoned professional. She knows more about life and health insurance and all the investment strategies and so on and so forth than most people they could get up with and figure it out. So if you need her help like you need to breathe. If you're a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, anybody in the professional general contracting services, you're going to want to pay attention to what Miss Leah Garcia has to share with us today. She's a supercharger in the industry, and I hope that you will get a chance to work with her. Without further ado, let me introduce our guest for today, Miss Leah Garcia.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach Marvin. Boy, whew, gotta let that get to my head. I appreciate the kind words, and it's such an honor to be here, and I'm excited to hopefully bring some value today.
Now, Leah, I'm going to go right in and ask the first question. The roundtable of an organization that I present and I work with my buddy Darren Marcourt, and you can see that little bubble right on the left-hand top of your screen. Our core values are communication, collaboration, and encouragement. And you can say it in any direction you want to. Communication, encouragement, collaboration, encouragement, communication. However you want to put it, those are the core values that we present to the world, that we use to help entrepreneurs and business leaders learn how to network at extremely high levels, learn how to grow their businesses and grow their impact in the community from doing what everybody suggests you don't do, which is whale hunting.
Right.
We're not afraid of it. We're not ashamed of it. And we tell people, listen, if you want to hunt big game, you got to learn to play the game at a high level, and you have to learn how to network at a high level. So that's what we do. That's what we teach. Now, the first question I have to ask you, and the question I ask every guest, is of those core values, communication, encouragement, and collaboration, which one, I know they all resonate with you, but which one resonates with you the most and why? Go for it.
I would say, collaboration. And really it's because I think of Think and Grow Rich. It talks about the power of the mastermind. And when we collaborate, I think all of those other aspects come into play. You're going to be encouraged. You're going to learn communication skills. You're going to learn how to speak properly and to transfer your message to others. I know for me, collaborations has really been more of like a mentorship, a mastermind and a mentorship. And I say iron sharpens iron, it's absolutely true. And a rising tide raises all boats. And that's the power of the mastermind, the power of the collaboration. When we can come to a space and know who we are, we know with confidence, we know our worth, we know our business, and we can collaborate and mastermind with others, you're going to find blind spots that you may not be aware of. That's why they call them blind spots, and help you to really open up your own industry, at the same time bring value to other people's industry that they may be unaware of also. So that's really what I would say is the collaboration. LinkedIn has given me a huge platform to collaborate. I've met so many incredible people that I would never have an opportunity to meet just in the day-to-day, people from all across the country, all across the world that have poured into me. And I think that we as entrepreneurs need that at some time. We can have our own rah ourselves, and we can have our study that we do and build our mind up. But sometimes we need other people to pour into us, to pour belief into us, because we're all going to have the ebbs and flow, right? We're going to have the highs in our business, and we're going to have the not so highs. The key is to stay plugged in, and it's a form of mentorship. And when we have that, really, that's when we can be here long term. That's why I've been in the business so long, because no man is an island. I have understood that. So I don't think that I can do it all myself or operate independently, that I know everything. So hopefully that makes sense.
Oh my God, it makes perfect sense. In fact, as I was thinking about what you were sharing, I was, remembering the first time I started to really go into collaborative partnerships with others. And man, the energy that
Yeah.
we were able to pull from one another was
Right.
palpable. It's so exciting when you're explaining a concept or a problem or issue that you're having, and someone will come in and go, I got an idea that might work for you. Why don't you try blah, 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 blah. And it's like, epiphany. I never thought of that. I never thought that this was possible. And it might not even be someone from my industry or somebody, but
Right.
it's amazing when it happens, and it happens all the time. When you get the right people on board and you start to focus on helping each other, really, all boats rise with the tide, right?
And it really is the energy.
Yes,
You hit it. I got chills when you said that, Coach Marvin. It really is the energy. It will increase everyone's energy.
right.
And
And
then
you
it's
just
not even
and then you just feed on one another, and it seems like it just always goes over. It keeps going and it keeps flowing over and over again, and you don't want to stop, right?
right.
Marshall Goldsmith, one of my favorite coaches, calls that having a mojo moment, right?
Yeah.
That's when you're in flow with other
Right.
people. And when you're in flow with other people, you forget to eat, you forget to think about anything else. It's just the moment that you can lose time in those moments, but it's all so natural to human beings. Sometimes you have to have other people remind you guys, like, time out. Okay, you guys got to go home now, or you got families to attend to. You have other priorities in your life, because everything goes bye when you reach that flow state. You reach that flow state, you just don't pay attention to those types of things. So thanks for answering that question. It's a great answer, one of the best I've heard. Thank you so very much for that. The next question I got to ask you is, when you think about what you love most about what you do. I mean, there's a myriad of things you do, there's a myriad of things that you offer, a myriad of programs and opportunities. But what is the thing that you do that really, really, really blows your head off? I mean, you really love this thing. You could do it all day, every day.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're thinking about.
I love to talk about creating generational and multi-generational wealth. And so we actually always start with the end in mind. And I love to sit down with families and help them to put together their living trust. And really, people think of a living trust as transferring your assets, your things, right? Your money and such. But it's so much more than that. It's about your story, leaving your wisdom, your words of wisdom, your knowledge, your legacy, your traditions. And I love to sit down with the family and help them discover and really unpack that, because oftentimes families think that they don't have a story. I could tell you many, many stories. One family I sat down with, two brothers, and they're a little bit older, and I was helping them with their living trust. And they felt like, gosh, we don't really do a lot of things. We don't have a lot of family traditions. We don't really have a story. And I just believe that everyone has a story. They have something that they can pass down. So I was looking around and I saw this action photo of a boxer, in a boxing ring. And I looked at it, just really caught my eye. And I said, who is that? What's that picture about? And one brother looks at the other and, he's kind of got his head down and he says, picks up his head and he's like, that's me. I said, what? Now, remember, these are older gentlemen, so they're a little bit more feeble. I said, what? That's you? Tell me about that. And you could just see the transformation happen. Suddenly he was 19 years old again, talking about winning the Golden Gloves and how he was a bodyguard for Cesar Chavez. And I grew up in the east side of San Jose, and Librado Chavez was one of my best friends. So we just had this incredible conversation. And suddenly he had this story. And I said, he goes, but you know what, Leah? My kids have heard this story ad nauseum. I said, that's right. They have. They've heard this story from you. But let me ask you, how about your grandchildren? How about your great-grandchildren? Would you rather have them hear that story from your kids that have heard that story ad nauseum? Or would you rather have them hear that story directly from you, with the vibrancy, with the intention, with the details that you can bring to it? And that's when it just transformed everything, just changed everything. And so that's something that I could literally do all day long, is talk to families about how we're going to preserve this legacy. How do we preserve those traditions? Listen, if we don't know, embrace where we were, how do we know where we're going? And I think that so often families they just kind of assume that we remember. But how many of us have recorded stories from our grandparents and our great grandparents? And if you do, you're fortunate. And if you don't, what would you give to be able to have that there from their own words?
Oh my God, you hit it. You hit it out of the park. I knew that you would, but I never thought about it from that perspective. It's so important to be able to not just leave money,
Right.
but to leave your thoughts and your ideas and share your values and your wisdom with generations to come. And luckily, you and I, we live today in this internet world where
Right.
literally all the things we're like, this thing that we're doing right now,
Right.
is going to live beyond us. We're creating data that's going into the stream. Otherwise, a historian once told me that only the ancient, Egyptians and rulers had the kind of access to other people that we currently have. And so why not use this platform? Why not use it as an amazing opportunity to preserve our legacy and our history and our thoughts and things? That is a wonderful idea. Oh, you're so truly amazing. Thank you so very much for blessing us with that. That's incredible. The next question I got to ask you. Clearly, you have your passion. You know why you love what you do. What made you get into this profession in the first place? Take me back to little Leah.
Little Leah, the BC, right?
When Leah was just going, I'm thinking about what I want to do when I grow up and what I want to become. How did you get to be the brilliant financial advisor that you are today?
Wow. Well, my kids were little and all my friends were going back to school to become teachers and things like that, and secretaries and I don't know, lawyers and such. And I really didn't want to go back to school. And one of my friends got involved in the insurance business, and I saw it as an opportunity for me to educate myself and also to meet more people and get an opportunity to dress up, because I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, right? Living in flip-flops and t-shirts and raising my kids in the Central Valley. So I thought this is an opportunity for me to be in a professional environment, to have adult conversations, and by the way, hopefully learn some things along the way. So I really got into it just really for those reasons. It was about self-improvement for me. I wanted to become a better version of myself. And what really resonated with me was the concept of life insurance. I grew up on the east side of San Jose on food stamps and welfare. And what I knew about life insurance was nothing. I thought that if someone passed away, you had to go to the richest relative, and ask for money and do bake sales and such to bury your family. It wasn't until I was pregnant with my first son, and my in-laws required us to sit down with their life insurance agent, me and my ex-husband, and they required us to sit down and purchase life insurance. I was fascinated because I had no idea there was something you could invest in that would take care of your family if you were no longer here. I was the crazy person that read my first life insurance policy cover to cover. I didn't understand it, but I read it. So when I had this opportunity to learn about the business, to learn about the industry, I saw it as an opportunity to learn and fortify myself. And really what I didn't understand was I was really changing my entire DNA. I read somewhere a long time ago that if you do anything for at least 7 years, it now becomes a part of your DNA. And I've been in the industry a little while, just like Coach Marvin alluded to, and now it's a part of who I am. People say, what do you do? It's not I do whatever it takes, but it's not really about what I do. It's just who I am. There is no off switch. Like it's just on. I don't know any other way. So that's my answer.
That's so wonderful. And people ask the question all the time, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I hate answering that question because the answer to that question is not really what they're asking me. What they're really asking me is, how effective are you?
Yeah.
And what are you doing to make the world a better place? Mm-hmm. And so when they ask me what I do, I answer that other question because I want to not waste an opportunity for someone to really get the value that I bring to the table. Because what I do has nothing to do with the value that I generate and that I create. And so it behooves you, and you did it excellently by just explaining, it's not that I sell insurance, it's who I am. Yeah. I'm the person that wants to see your legacy grow. I want to see your family remember who you are for reasons that are more than money, but obviously money is a help, right? When you say that, it's like, oh. Now tell me how you do it. Now you can say, well, I sell amazing life insurance policies, right? But it's important because people don't, and again, you're talking about the fact that people go into these contracts. They go into these contracts all the time and they don't understand them. And so you can't take advantage of anything that you don't really understand. And you need people with you that will help you understand over the years what this really means and how this really can affect you positively. And that requires people that you trust.
Right.
Because and you got to learn that. That's a difficult thing to learn, specifically if you come from a minority community.
Right.
Trust. That's a difficult thing, it's like, and people don't understand it. They're like, well, why don't they just trust us? Because we're saying the right things, we're doing the right things. Why don't we have the trust? It's not that you're not saying the right things or doing the right things. It's that you haven't until just now.
Right.
And there's generational memories that go back further than everybody else. And all of us sitting here today, and we go, wait a minute, we're not supposed to trust those people. That institution, that organization. And that's why I tell people all the time, it's like, you got to be really careful about this what you're doing, because a lot of times, people you should trust, you don't know how to trust. And you have to learn how to trust them in order for whatever value they bring to the table to come from them, which is difficult. Sometimes you got to let go of that fear, right? You know what they say fear is, right? Fear is false evidence appearing real, right? And really, so is this person really out to get me? You got to ask yourself the question: are they really out to get me, or is that a perception I have based on some family trauma or some long existing reality that's not reality today?
That's right.
And then you got to let it go, and you got to give them the trust, because that's the only way you're going to learn to do it, is to give it. You have to invest in other people that way, or you're not going to get it back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to preach. This is about you.
I love that. I love it. I literally got chills. You're so right. It comes down to trust. And unfortunately, sometimes when we trust certain people, they don't take care of us. But that's when we have to rely on our intuition, our inner guidance system, right? If something's not resonating with you, then, I always tell even my clients, listen, go and talk to 3 people. I think I'm perfect. No, I'm just kidding. But I may not be the right person for you, right? So talk to 3 different people. See what resonates with you, what feels good in your belly, what makes sense to you.
And I think that's wisdom. That is wisdom from on high, because if you're not willing to test it, if you're not willing to do the work to really, really go out and find other ideas and other thoughts, open yourself up to other possibilities, then you're never going to be sure about the choice you make.
That's right.
And when you're not sure about the choices you make, then you can unmake that choice very easily. And I tell people all the time, in the life insurance world, if you cancel your policy, especially if you cancel it early, you get benefit from that.
Right.
And the poor agent who sold it to you is probably going to get penalized some way.
Right.
Because there's a word, persistency rate might be impacted by you and other people who, are not coming through with your end of the bargain. in terms of paying the premiums that they suggested, that or make it. I don't even say paying premiums. I like the investing in your future in the way that you should invest in your future. It's not just paying premiums, it's investing in your future. And you really have to think about that and turn that language around so that you get it, that, really what you're doing is you're providing a guaranteed bank for the future of your family. It's crazy.
Right. Right. I can talk about that all day long and twice on Sunday. So
I know you can. The last question I have to ask you, and then we can fill in with anything that we missed or anything we should definitely cover, is in the next 5 years, where do you see yourself, your business growing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, it's all about the vision. When I started in this industry, I started out of curiosity. And then as I was going through my divorce, it was a way for me to feed myself and feed my family, right? And now it's really, I've come to the place where I really want to leave a legacy, and that is going to come with building my team. So in the next 5 years, I intend to have 250 licensed agents nationwide. I do have a lot of collaborative agents that I work with now, but I really want to build my own team and really be an impact to the community. I believe that givers gain, and it's my intention to start a nonprofit. I want to start a nonprofit, build a nonprofit where children and seniors can come together and they can offer different services. A lot of seniors have wisdom and knowledge and skills, but they don't really have anyone to hand that down to. I think that we have a lot of people that have untapped talent who would be willing to share that talent. And my vision is to build a community center where children could go and they could learn maybe storytelling or gardening or mechanics or leadership, any myriad of different talents and skills. And at the same time, don't get it twisted, I'm here to make a lot of money. I didn't come here to make a little bit of money. I came here to create generational wealth for my family. That's absolutely, I make no qualms about that, but it's because of the value that I bring. One thing that I didn't realize as I got into this industry, I'm Hispanic, and I didn't really, it was a blind spot for me. I didn't realize that majority of the people in my industry are not women. They're not Hispanic, and, they were not my age. Most of the people in my industry are older men, and I never really thought about it that way until recently. My niece, she's amazing. She owns an incredible business in Las Vegas. And she said, Leah, don't you realize that you're running you're a woman-based business? And I thought, wow. She goes, you need to talk about that because you can inspire someone else. And really, I'm really stepping into that. And what I mean by that is I believe that I bring a different voice to financial services. I believe that because of where I grew up from, because of where I come from, I only know how to be authentic. I look at every single family that I serve as my family. And I'm very transparent with them. And I let them know, listen, this is going to be uncomfortable sometimes. You may not like what I have to say, but I'm here to help you to get to your vision. And really, it's served me well. It has served me well. And I'm very appreciative of the opportunity that I have. And that's where I'm going.
Oh my God, that is super fantastic. I'm so glad you shared that with us. I look forward to helping in any possible way that I can. I even thought of a name for your organization, Legacy Generators. If you haven't picked out a name, for your nonprofit, you might want to think about that one because it says it all. We're helping young people generate legacies and preserve legacies, or legacy generators. That's to me that just resonates. I'd give money to that. So definitely think about who you want to bring along with you, because those kinds of partnerships and collaborations are great. But everybody wants to be involved with a nonprofit organization. Sometimes they want to just put their name on it. You need to make sure you get the right kind of board. and the right kind of collaborative partners that are going to want to do this with you. And I know a lot about this because that's kind of when I left the industry. I was literally doing a lot to help charitable partners and charitable organizations raise tons of money. And that's kind of my last swan song to the industry when I started really thinking about what I was going to do next. And I sat on so many boards and so many nonprofits and so many different things. And like, oh, we can leverage this with life insurance. You can really figure out how to get more out of this, how to get more out of the gift. You know, people were giving $10,000, $20,000 a year to an organization. It's like, why not put half of that into a life insurance premium and leave a couple million? And we're like, really? We could do that? Like, yeah, sure you can. Let me show you how. And it worked out amazing. So anyway, that's the end of our show today. Is there any questions that you have that you want to throw out to me, Leah?
Yeah, I would just like to know, when you talk about helping nonprofits, what have you seen has been the biggest mistake that most nonprofits make?
Unfortunately, we have that internet problem, and we're going to have to get you to ask that question again.
Okay. I got you. Yes, I do have a question. When we talk about nonprofits, because I know in my industry, people ask me, what are the biggest mistakes that you see people make? What are the biggest mistakes that you see nonprofits make since you've worked with quite a few?
Oh my God. Getting people on board that are not taking responsibility for being board members is a serious problem for most nonprofits. You know, when you say that you want to be a board member, you are agreeing to take on the reins of the fiduciary responsibility of the organization. And so what that means is you don't necessarily have to contribute out of your own pocket, but you need to make sure that organization can be endowed, you know, not just keep the lights on year to year, but have enough money to accomplish its mission year after year after year after year after year. And that's the real important job of a board. Not just to make sure that they're doing what the IRS said that they're supposed to be doing,
Right.
but to ensure the legacy of the organization can continue and grow. If you're not doing that as a board member, you're just trying to make sure that operations are in, that you hire people to run operations. That's not what you do. As a board member, your job number one is fundraising, is helping and creating and generating more funds for the organization. And you need to pick people to be on that board that are good at that, that are comfortable with that. Of like, I don't want to ask people to come to the banquet. I don't want to ask people to spend any money. That's a horrible board member. Don't let that person on your board. You know, because they're not gonna bring anything to the table except a headache. You know, so that's what I think people do that. They mess that up and they're asked their best friends to be on the board. They're asked and it's okay if your best friend is a go-getter. I mean, if your best friend is I'm gonna ask, you know, some of the most well-to-do families in our area to contribute. And the last thing, you know, it's okay to be a philanthropist. It's okay to do philanthropy. And it's okay to do philanthropy differently. But if you're going to do philanthropy differently, make sure you know how it was done so you can improve upon it. You don't want to just go, well, I don't want to do it that way. I'm going to do it this other way. That's fine. But now you got the IRS that will tell you some different things about that. So you want to make sure that you understand what the rules and the requirements are before you sign on that line and say, I'm going to be on this board.
Right.
You know,
That's
not
very
and not the rules and requirements that the organization tells you. The rules and requirements that Uncle Sam tells you are going to be the ones that govern what you ultimately can and cannot do. And so if you don't know the real law, you're going to bump into some problems, and you might put yourself at risk and your family at risk because you don't understand your real role and real responsibilities. That's what I think the biggest issue is.
That is so great, because I can absolutely see that in a lot of the nonprofits I'm working with, it's kind of like a popularity contest, and they're almost afraid to give their true opinion. Right. I think when you have a board, they got to be willing to go to bat and that's the value they bring, is bring their own personality. And we don't always agree, but that's how we create the best for that nonprofit. Right. That's a great question. I love answer. Yeah. I love that.
Most of the time, boards not willing to do that is because they think of themselves as a monolith instead of a growing, diverse, open entity. Usually it's like we're all thinking the same, we're all coming from the same place, we're all got this same baggage, we're carrying around, and you need diversity in order to change that paradigm.
Wow.
You need younger people, you need older people, you need people from different, racial backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, and that is going to help you get the perspective of everybody that you might be serving, so that you can put together the right kinds of opportunities for everybody.
And so let me ask you this, and maybe I'm off, but it seems like a lot of times when people start a nonprofit, they haven't really healed themselves. So they bring more of a wounded energy to that. And they're trying to go through that healing process. I really feel that you have to have gotten to the other side.
Oh, absolutely.
So that as you're sharing your story, you're not bringing everybody down there with you. Does that make sense?
I was just telling my daughter this just earlier today. I can do two things when I listen to you. I can feel empathy, or I can feel sympathy. Sympathy means I'm drowning with you.
Right.
Empathy means I see you drowning, and I can help, and I can offer you a way up.
Yes.
Right. And so if you're going to have a leader of an organization that's supposed to be helping others find the leg up, they cannot be coming and looking for sympathy.
Right.
Because sympathy has no power. It's a drain on everybody's energies.
That's gold.
But empathy is the real power. It's like, I see you, I understand you, I hear you, and I can offer you a way out. I can offer you a different perspective. I can offer you a different resource. I can offer you a different kind of connection, so that you might be able to tell a different story somewhere else. But somebody has to go through all that in order to come out on the other side and be useful to other people.
Yeah.
Just like you said. And because other than that, you got sympathy hogs. It was like, woe is me. This is my problem. Oh my God. It's horrendous. It's okay. At some point, you got to stop singing that old sad tune and find the courage. That's what people want to invest in. Right. People want to invest in people who are winners.
Right.
Not trying to win, not maybe kind of sort of will win. We invest in winners. I hate to say it, but that's how, Americans in the U.S., that's how we are. But if you're winning, we're all with you. Now, when you start losing, you start playing a sympathy card, at some point, the winners are going to walk away like, oh, no, that's not how you win. Right. That's how you lock in the loss.
Wow.
So anyway, I got to go. This is great. It's been wonderful working with you and talking to you. I'm glad you were on the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Leah. I can't thank you enough.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm going to make sure we get this in front of, when we go live, the broadcast, I'll let you know when that's going to be. But we're going to get this in front of everybody, because people need to know and see you. Your heart is golden. Your ideas are brilliant, and everybody wants to work with that, right? Because you're a winner.
And that's why we'll see you all at the top, because we all know it's way too crowded at the bottom.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so very much, Leah. And I'm gonna get you out of here and let me close out. Don't go anywhere, Leah. I'll be right back. Okay, so that was the show, guys. I know you got questions. I know you got a lot of things you want to bring to the table, you want to share, and I want you to do that. Because when we broadcast this, when you see this live, you're going to get the opportunity to put your information in the chat, no matter where you're coming from, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Put your information in the chat. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're coming from. Tell us what resonated most with you in the show. Ask a question, or any question that you want to ask. Leah and I will be there. We'll be able to answer. And if we can't answer, maybe someone else can. But what you never want to see happen is your questions go unanswered. That's what we have all this good social engagement and communication is all about. And so take advantage of it. Don't let it go to the wayside. And like Leah said, we'll see you at the top. I love that. Let's make sure we do that. And so goodbye, everybody. We're going to end the broadcast.